When you're practicing your music, do you know what to focus on? Or are you kind of like scattered all over the place? Like, oh, I know I need to run through this song or I have to run through that song. So, one way you can kind of focus your practice time is by keeping a practice journal. So, let's talk about that for a minute. So, here you can see in my little graphic, it's just a traditional little notebook. And you can certainly do this in a notebook. You could do this on your phone. You could do this in a spreadsheet, even. It doesn't really matter how you keep a practice journal, but the practice journal is a great way to kind of keep you on task. So that way, if you only have a few minutes to practice, you know exactly kind of where you left off after your last practice and where you might need to go with this practice. So, obvious things in a practice journal, you're going to want to write your date and time, and you're also going to write the length of your sessions. So, say today you have 3 opportunities to practice. You're going to date and time practice number 1, and then 15 minutes. And then you'll write a different time and say, I practice for another 15 minutes. And really chunking up your practice like this is actually a good thing because it gives your brain a chance to like kind of digest what you've been working on. So then for each practice session, you're going to write down what pieces you worked on and what you focused on. So you probably don't want to pull out a piece and do it from beginning to end unless you're kind of in final polish mode. But if you're learning something or you're going over stuff that maybe your teacher or your coach said that you should go over, you're going to be really specific. So you're going to say that in song A, I focused on measures 50 to 60 and I worked on the rhythms there. Or I worked on my notes or the interpretation, whatever. And then you're just going to create just a little list of what you focused on for each piece. You don't have to write a book. And then after you're done, take less than 2 minutes. This is a quick thing to do. Please don't spend lots of time on it because then you won't do it. But this is where you notice, like, how did it go? Did you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish? Did you totally, utterly fail at it and you feel like maybe I should go back and look at it again? And how did you feel about your practice? Did you feel confident? Did you physically feel something? So did you notice that you had some tension going on while you were working on that spot with that really kind of like high melody line that feels like it's kind of pushing against a boundary? Or do you even feel like you had any power in a certain section? Write that stuff down. Did you notice anything else? So this could be anything, and including, today my allergies were really bad, or ladies, today was a hormone day for me. You'll start noticing correlations. If you do this on a regular basis, you'll notice like, oh, when my allergies are bad, this thing happens. Or maybe you're noticing that in the last few weeks, you've been having a very specific issue, like in a very specific part of your range, and you aren't quite sure why. And it seems to be happening everywhere. So if you make notes of this stuff, then you're going to start noticing trends, which is also going to help you and your teacher focus on things. So there's a few rules that I have about keeping a practice journal, and you can really keep your journal however you want, but my biggest rule that I would say is keep it brief, because if you're trying to write a big long journal entry after every practice and you only practice for 10 minutes and then you're spending 10 minutes journaling, you're not going to journal. You're going to be like, I don't have time for that. So keep it really brief, just a couple bullet points, just to help you keep track of like what you've been working on, how it's been working out for you, that sort of thing. And then when you're done writing it up, mark the stuff you want to revisit. Okay, so I worked on song A, measures 50 to 60, and I feel like I really need to go back and do that again. So then you're going to put some asterisks or stars, highlight it, however you're going to make a note. That way, when you sit down to practice, next time you can open up your practice journal and go, oh, look at that. I need to do this thing before I do anything else. So then the other thing that you want to do is mark any trends that you're noticing. So like I said, if you're noticing that when my allergies are bothering me, this thing happens, you can start planning for it. And mark stuff to discuss with your coach. So those trends, great thing to discuss with your coach or your teacher. They might have some solutions for you or some ideas for you. If you are consistently missing a thing in a song, that is a thing to take to your teacher or your coach and say, hey, I'm screwing this up all the time. What can I do? So the practice journal becomes something that is not a private thing that like a Dear Diary situation. This is something that's going to go with you to your lessons or your coaching sessions. So then you can discuss this stuff with your teacher and therefore get more out of your lesson, get your money's worth with your teacher, right? So now this is serving two purposes. It's helping you get organized for your lessons and helping you get organized for your practice times. I hope this was helpful for you. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.